Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Great to have you. So, how do doctors and administrators know if an infection was actually acquired at the hospital? Isn't that hard to determine?
It can be a little bit. Yeah, it's tricky. So doctors order tests on patients' blood, urine, or stool, and they're called cultures. So that'll show what kind of infection a patient has. But that clinical diagnosis alone does not mean that it's a hospital acquired infection that they have to report to the government. The CDC has very specific criteria that have to be met before that determination is made. And most importantly, is when the patient was admitted to the hospital. Because in many cases, patients come to the hospital from a nursing home or elsewhere, and they already have an infection. And hospitals shouldn't get blamed for those. So all infections that are hospital acquired and reported to the government have time elements attached to them. It's usually 3 or 4 days after the patient was admitted. Then it can be considered hospital acquired.
I see. So, what's the protocol then in the hospital when a patient does get an infection?
So typically, an infection preventionist, their job is to look at not only the culture results, but also the patient's records to see if they actually meet the criteria for the hospital-acquired infection. So they are the ones who usually then report infections to the CDC. The CDC has a national database, and then Medicare uses that data to create its own scores for hospitals and determine who gets financially penalized.
It seems to me that the incentives then are set up in a way that hospitals aren't really in a hurry to run and report these infections.
Yeah, I think that's really true. A lot of academics and doctors that I spoke with said that this is a really big problem with this program. I talked to some public health experts who said, they think these are some of the worst, this is like the worst quality reporting program that Medicare has, just because of how it's set up and how the incentives are sort of perversely set up to discourage hospitals from testing for infections.
I'm curious what kinds of infections are most commonly acquired in the hospital.
Yeah, so the most common ones are C. difficile is a bacteria that infects the colon and can be a deadly infection. There's urinary tract infections that are affiliated with a catheter that a patient has in. So if that catheter becomes infected, the patient gets a UTI. There's also bloodstream infections that come from a central line. A central line is that tube that's inserted into a vein and brings medications, fluids into the body. There's also sepsis is a really severe infection that basically the body's immune system just goes into hyperdrive, and it can result in multiple organ failure. A simple infection like a UTI can develop into sepsis if it's not treated quickly enough. And that's a big concern in hospitals because a lot of people die of sepsis.
You spoke with a number of doctors and clinicians, including a doctor who used to work at the Portsmouth Regional Hospital in New Hampshire. What did he tell you about how difficult it is to test for hospital infections?
So I spoke with a few doctors from Portsmouth Regional and also a nurse who didn't want to go on record. What the doctors told me is that when they got to this hospital, they felt like the ability to use their clinical judgment and look at what a patient has, look at their symptoms, was really dampened. They weren't really able to freely order the tests that they felt these patients needed. They said C. diff was especially difficult to order, but also, bloodstream infections, UTIs. So there would be a number of sort of pop-ups. Are you sure you want to order this? Here's the conditions. And then if they actually got through and were able to place the order, they said they'd get, a phone call from an administrator saying, hey, are you sure you want to order this? I'm not sure this is the right test for this patient. And so, what they told me is that they held their ground, but they could easily see how other doctors or less experienced doctors would just back down and under that pressure especially from an administrator, your superior, they would say, no, maybe I'm just not going to order this test. But ultimately, if you don't order the test and the patient does have an infection, that's on the doctors. That's going to come back and be their fault. So they felt like it was a huge problem.
Tara Bano is hospitals and insurance reporter for our editorial partners at STAT. Tara, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
And Here and Now is a production of NPR and WBUR. I'm Jane Clayson in Boston.
And I'm Scott Tong in Washington, D.C. You're listening to Here and Now.
All who desire to stand for a moment of silence or personal prayer and to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you and amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon and welcome to our meeting for September 23rd, 2025. Regular meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday at 2 p.m. Public hearings are held at 6 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Deviations from the schedule will be announced. The meetings are broadcast live on RVTV Channel 3 and will be rebroadcast on Friday at 7 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Board of Supervisors meetings can also be viewed online through Roanoke County's website at www.roanokecountyva.gov. Individuals who require assistance or special arrangements to participate in or attend the Board of Supervisors meetings should contact the clerk to the board at 540-772-2005 at least 48 hours in advance. Please turn all cell phones off or place them on silence. Thank you. And then we go to item A, opening ceremonies. Number one, roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Hooker. Here. Mr. North.
Here.
Mr. Mahoney.
Here.
Mrs. Shepherd.
Here.
Mr. Radford.
Here. We move to item B, request to postpone, add to, or change the order of agenda items. Fellow board members, do you have any changes?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kaywood.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose, oops, wrong button there. Propose that we add item L2, which would be a closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A19 of the Code of Virginia for the board to discuss plans and to receive information from staff and law enforcement officials regarding the security of Roanoke County governmental buildings and the safety of persons using such buildings.
Thank you. Fellow board members, are there any objections to the proposed additions to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. The agenda is so amended. Mr. Lubeck?
No further changes, sir.
All right, we move to item C, proclamations, resolutions, recognitions, and awards. C1, recognition of general services staff on winning a 2025 VACO Achievement Award for Smart Trash. Ashley King, Director of General Services. And here to present the award is Katie Boyle from VACO. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I'm so excited to have Katie here with us today, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the selection process.
Thank you so much. Chairman Radford, members of the board, members of county staff, and guests, good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me with you today. As was mentioned, my name is Katie Boyle. I'm the Deputy Director at the Virginia Association of Counties, and it's my privilege to be here with you today to celebrate your success and present you with a VACO Achievement Award. So we at VACO are so grateful for Roanoke County's longtime support and participation with us. As you all know, Supervisor Hooker serves on our board of directors. Supervisor North's our first vice president. They represent you all and your region very well, do a fantastic job. But just to provide a little bit of background about us for those who may not be familiar and for those who are watching at home, we were founded in 1934, and our mission is to serve and support your efforts as county officials. We support counties through state and federal advocacy work, educational programs, member services, and our communications efforts. So just to talk a little bit about the Achievement Awards programs, we established this program in 2003, and the goal is to recognize counties that adopt innovative approaches to providing public services. So we had 3 volunteer judges this year, and they followed several guiding principles when they selected winners, including whether a program offered an innovative solution to a problem, whether a program promoted intergovernmental cooperation or cooperation with the private sector, and whether the program provides a model that other local governments can learn from or implement in their own jurisdictions. So this program's always been very competitive, definitely the case this year. We had record participation for another year with 155 entries. So our judges really had their work cut out for them, and they had a very long meeting, but ultimately they selected 57 winners from 33 counties. So you can really see the level of competition in this program because only 36% of entries were chosen as winners. So today I'm very proud to present Roanoke County with a 2025 Achievement Award for the Smart Trash Program. And before I turn it back over for you and I'll hear a little bit more detail about the program, I did want to highlight your track record of success here in Roanoke County. You all have won 20 Achievement Awards in the history of the program, including the Best Large County Achievement Award in 2019, and you've won awards in 7 of the last 8 years. So in addition to celebrating your great work this year, we really wanted to recognize your history of excellence and innovation in serving your community. So I'm going to turn things over to Director King to say a few words about the program, and then I've got a plaque to present from VACO.
Thank you so much, Katie. Well, as you all know, one of my favorite subjects to discuss with you is trash. So it's definitely fitting that we were able to put our name in the hat for one of these awards. And we were very proud to work on a project like this where we not only got to use technology to allow us to become more efficient, but this project really also revolved around collaboration. So that was not only with the various divisions in general services, such as our systems division, solid waste division, and fleet services division, but also with our IT's GIS division, and even more importantly, with a group of senior students from Virginia Tech's Industrial and Systems Engineering program. So I know you all had the pleasure of meeting them previously this year, and we're just very excited to have this award, and so thankful to Katie for joining us today. And I have several of the folks who worked on the project here with me.
Well, please allow me to congratulate you on behalf of VACO for your great work. Just a wonderful example of collaboration and maximizing your county resources. And so I congratulate you, and thanks again for having me. I look forward to being back here next year to recognize something else that you all come up with. So thank you so much. And this is the plaque that we've brought on behalf of VACO to recognize the program.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. Fellow board members, let's give you some comments. Yeah, I'll start over here on the far right.
Ashley, thank you for all you do. You continue to impress us with your leadership and your innovation and working with your staff and coming up with creative ideas to better serve our citizens. So just want you to know we appreciate you and all you do and your staff. Thank you.
Amen. Mr. North.
You're always talking trash. And it's a good kind of talk, and we appreciate everything you've done. It just keeps getting better. And Katie, you can come see us anytime, whether you bring one award or several or just are in the neighborhood. But and we appreciate your coming over here from Richmond to present this today and for all the work that VACO does. And we'll probably be getting some more one day in the future because we do have a lot of innovative folks out here in Roanoke County. Good job. Keep it up.
Katie, it sounds like it was a very competitive process. So I want to give a lot of credit to Ashley and her staff sitting in the audience. You guys do a great job. I think it's probably the best department, one of the best departments we have in the county. I know a lot of our citizens like it a lot. So thank you. This is great.
Well, I was just telling them before the meeting, I'm a frequent flyer with the General Services. And I really appreciate everything you all do and how quickly and responsive you are and how professional all the department is when they do handle stuff. So thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to conclude. Katie, Ashley showed us, we did a work session, open session, and she showed us all the technology. It definitely was smart trash, but just bringing in the students from tech, right?
Yes, sir.
And so it was a great collaboration for education and then helping us out with maintenance issues, and so it was well worth the award. And I was just so glad. Now we want to get a picture, and we would like your other staff members to come on up here.
And our GIS friends.
Do we want to stand up?
Yeah, y'all can stand right here. Y'all come on over here. We'll just stand behind them.
We got your back, Katie.
No, not yet.
All right, everybody smile.
Say trash.
Trash. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you do.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
good job on the award.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move to item D, new business, resolution requesting the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization fund 4 projects for the fiscal year 2027 through 2023, the Surface Transportation Block Grant and the Carbon Reduction Programs. Megan Cronice is going to tell us all about that. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I come before you every 2 years to give a presentation similar to this because we've been applying for this program since about 2013. The Surface Transportation Block Grant and Carbon Reduction Program requests are 100% state and federal funding with no local match. We're here every 2 years. Our deadline is Friday. The awards are from the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization, which determines projects that are funded and then incorporated in the 6-year improvement program. In June of the following year by the Commonwealth Transportation Board, there's approximately $12 million in existing funding plus approximately $5 million for the 6th year of funding in the program this year for approximately $17 million. And staff proposes 4 Surface Transportation Block Grant Carbon Reduction Program applications. The first project is the West Roanoke River Greenway Phase 2 Preliminary Engineering Project. So there was funding obtained in 2010, 2013, 2016, and 2022 for this project, and the original scope was from Riverside Park at Mill Lane over here in the red, if my cursor will work. all the way to Green Hill Park, with a section that was already complete in the middle that's in the city of Salem. In 2011 through 2020, greenway alternatives were considered, design was completed, and right-of-way was obtained. In 2021, Riverside Park to Mill Lane in the city of Salem was removed from the project scope due to right-of-way acquisition challenges. In 2022, VDOT recommended splitting the project to move forward the piece that was ready to go. We had 100% plans, right-of-way, and we're ready to go to construction on the piece on the south side of the river between about Riverside Nursery and the existing greenway in the city of Salem. When that project was split, there was no longer any funding available for Phase 2, which was designed to cross the river with a pedestrian bridge, follow along the Salem Industrial Park, and then cross the river on the other side of Do-Goods Lane back to Green Hill Park. In 2023, Phase 1 construction began, and it is nearing completion now. In April of 2024, Roanoke County held a community meeting on Phase 2 with 95 attendees and received 189 survey responses. The consensus of those results was to locate the greenway on the south side of the river instead of the north side to eliminate the need for those expensive pedestrian bridges. In April of 2025, we held another community meeting with 71 attendees and 81 survey responses. Option 1 between West Riverside Drive and the Roanoke River received the most support and the least opposition. This graphic shows a rendering that our staff put together showing option 1 and what it could look like between West Riverside Drive and the Roanoke River. The preliminary engineering estimate for design only is $1,210,000. This would be a 10-foot wide asphalt greenway like the remainder of the Roanoke River Greenway, with a gabion basket retaining wall along the river for the length of the greenway like we have on Phase 1. Timber and guardrail fencing between the greenway and the retaining wall. Some trees and vegetation could be removed and some would be retained. An 8-foot wide landscape buffer strip between the greenway and the road that could include street trees. Curb and gutter on the north side of West Riverside, and VDOT would administer the design project and future phases. The next project is the East Roanoke River Greenway Gap preliminary engineering. Between 2008 and 2014, Roanoke County applied for and received several grants to fund the Roanoke River Greenway between the city of Roanoke and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Between 2012 and 2018, design and environmental investigations were conducted. Meetings were held with property owners along the river as the greenway developed. Between 2018 and 2021, easements were obtained from 5 property owners on 10 parcels along the corridor. In 2022, the project was scoped down to construct a segment on VRFA, which is now Roanoke County property, next to the Blue Ridge Parkway, which was completed in 2023. That piece is on the purple land here. In June of 2022, Roanoke County held a community meeting on a VDOT design for the remaining greenway segment with 67 attendees and 381 survey responses. A 0.9-mile-long segment was submitted for smart scale funding and was not successful. In October of 2024, the East Roanoke River Greenway feasibility study began with assistance from AECOM, and that is for the area circled in red, which is the remainder of the greenway between the city of Roanoke and the piece that we constructed in 2023. In February of 2025, Roanoke County held 2 community meetings with 138 attendees and 292 surveys completed. There was support for routes along the Roanoke River and opposition to routes along the roadways. In July of 2025, Roanoke County held 2 more community meetings with 65 attendees and 212 surveys completed. As we discussed at your work session 2 weeks ago, Route A, located north of the Roanoke River and the Norfolk Southern Railroad, is the alignment that we decided to move forward with. We have a preliminary engineering estimate for 30% plans, which is $2,725,000, and VDOT would administer the design project and future phases of this project. The next project is the Brambleton Avenue Mid-Block Crosswalk. The Cave Spring Baptist Church parking lots have been used for Cave Spring Middle School and Boglefield overflow parking for many years. 3 pedestrian crashes have occurred on Brambleton near Cave Spring Middle in the past 10 years. You can see them on the map. In early 2023, Roanoke County Public Schools staff requested that Roanoke County investigate a crosswalk between Cave Spring Baptist Church and Cave Spring Middle School after the November 2022 crash. County staff contacted VDOT for assistance. In October of 2023, county staff, VDOT, Roanoke County Public School staff, principals, and Cave Spring Baptist Church representatives met to discuss proposed pedestrian improvement concepts that VDOT had assembled. In late October of 23, VDOT submitted 2 highway safety improvement program projects, and neither application was funded. Those 2 projects were pedestrian signals and crosswalks at the Brambleton Ranch Crest Roselawn traffic signal closest to the school, and mid-block crosswalk between Cave Spring Middle and Cave Spring Baptist Church. In October of 2024, VDOT submitted the HSIP projects again, and neither application was funded. So we tried a different approach, and we were asking for Surface Transportation Block Grant or Carbon Reduction Program funding to fund this project instead. The mid-block crosswalk project estimate for all phases is $2,107,000,000. The project features are a lower speed limit from 45 to 35 miles an hour, which is needed with the improvements that are going to be potentially installed in the middle of the road. We would install pedestrian-activated flashing lights with a mid-block crosswalk and a refuge island, so pedestrians could go up to the signal, press the button, the lights would start flashing, cars would stop, pedestrians could cross. We would connect new sidewalk to the school sidewalk near the bus loop, construct sidewalk across the church's upper lot entrance with an ADA ramp to the parking lot, and install possible hedges or fencing along the top of the slope of the church to reduce shortcuts to the crosswalk running down the hill. The last project is the railroad crossing elimination study. Between 2021 and 2023, the Lehman Road and Glade Creek Road at-grade railroad crossings were evaluated as part of the Route 460 land use and connectivity study. Staff learned that trains frequently block both roadways for up to 2 hours at a time on many occasions. In 2022, staff applied for a railroad crossing elimination planning grant for these intersections through the Federal Railroad Administration. We did not obtain funding at that time. In March of 2023, the Route 460 land use and connectivity study was adopted as part of the comprehensive plan with recommendations to improve access to the east of the railroad. In October of 2024, staff applied for CIP funding to complete the activities requested in the planning grant application, and funding was not included. The railroad crossing elimination study for Lehman Road and Glade Creek Road is you can see here, we have Lehman Road to the left and Glade Creek Road to the right. This is to replace 2 at-grade railroad crossings with 1 bridge and then to connect both roads together so both roads could use the 1 bridge. We anticipate engaging the community with 2 meetings and working on 30% design plans. The study estimate is $515,000. Our next steps today, we are requesting a resolution of support for the 4 projects, and by Friday, we will submit the STBG CRP applications to the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Cronise before we go to the adopting the resolution? Yes?
Ms. Cronise, I know you said this at the beginning of your comments, but could you just repeat it for maybe everybody who's watching it on television or virtually? The process. The board adopts the resolution. It goes to the Roanoke Valley TPO. When would they act? And then I think you indicated if they acted positively, that would then go to the next step to VDOT. So what is the time frame, hopefully, when all those entities would act, and when we might know whether or not we have been successful with the grant application?
Sure, happy to answer that question. So after the applications are due, staff processes them, and then they are distributed to the Transportation Technical Committee, which Nathan Grimm and I sit on, which is a committee of the TPO. And then that whole group scores and evaluates all of those applications. Then the final scoring total that the TTC comes up with goes to the Transportation Planning Organization. So Mr. North and Mr. Radford would then see that with the rest of the TPO. And the TTC typically also forwards a recommendation on which projects to fund. Typically, it's starting with the project that scored the top, and you go down until you run out of money. So the TPO would then consider that recommendation and then take action on it. Typically, that's March or April of next year, so that recommendation and final adoption by the TPO can be forwarded on to VDOT for inclusion in the secondary six-year improvement program, which is then adopted by the Commonwealth Transportation Board in June of 2026. So the funding may be available later than that, depending upon what year the funding is available in the STBG and CRP 6-year program.
So we would not know until June of next year?
We would have a good idea in March, April-ish, how our projects are faring. But we would not have final funding allocated to the project before the CTB acts, and then July 1 is when the 6-year improvement program is published, and then there's money in that program for 2026 or future years.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. North.
Yeah, just to add some fodder to the conversation between you and Mr. Mahoney, this is just for design and engineering only.
For the Greenway projects?
On the Greenway projects, this is only for design and engineering. This is not for the total project. And I want the folks at home to understand that. that if we were to get the funding for design and engineering, and if that passes muster of all the other levels mentioned, the TTC, the TPO, VDOT, the CTB, if and when we know what the total cost for the projects are going to be, and they're going to be high, that's just tees up this project for future consideration down the road. And we know the priority is the West River Greenway and then the East River Greenway. But the cost that we saw in our work session, if I'm not mistaken, was as high as $90 million for 3 or 4 miles of greenway. That's very expensive. And so if the engineering and design report comes back and validates that as the cost, it's going to take a long, long, long time unless we get 100% federal money or state money or other people's money, as I like to call it, to get those projects completed. And I just want folks to know that if you're listening to this, it's not $1.2 million for the project. That's just for the design and engineering portion, that the price tag is very, very, very high. And so just setting the table to make sure there's no misunderstanding that we're going to do these projects. We're just trying to get money for these projects.
Correct.
Thank you.
And for the West Roanoke River Greenway, that's for full preliminary engineering design of the West Roanoke River Greenway Phase 2. For the East Roanoke River Greenway, that is 30% design, so it's a much lesser level of engineering. For the Brambleton Avenue Mid-Block Crosswalk, that is for design, right-of-way, and construction. And for the Railroad Crossing Elimination Study, that is for study and community engagement with 30% design plans. So there will be one construction project, if we're lucky, to get Brambleton funded, but the rest, we are baby stepping the process as best we can so that we can have much better costs for later. And yes, you referenced the potential construction costs for the East Roanoke River Greenway as a whole, and we know we are going to have to phase that project, and that will be a big part of the preliminary engineering phase, is determining how many small pieces can we break that project up into so that we have a better chance of obtaining right-of-way and construction money later.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. In hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, again, I think for the benefit of a lot of our citizens watching this, this is the second time the board has had an opportunity to hear this report from Ms. Cronise. We had a lengthy work session a couple weeks ago on it. This is an important initiative because, as Mr. North indicates, if all works out well, the price tag at the end of the day is very large. On the other hand, particularly with respect to the Greenway projects, greenways have been a priority, not just for this board, but I think for all of the jurisdictions in the region for, 20, 30 years?
At least.
So this is not something just that we are doing. This is something that different boards, different councils in the region have indicated as their priority. So this is important. I think the other aspects, the third and fourth item on our resolution are safety items. And those are also important. As Ms. Cronise indicated, we had a series of accidents on Brambleton in front of Cave Spring Middle. And why that's important is both Cave Spring and Hidden Valley use Bogle Field. And I think we also realize that there are other commercial development projects potentially occurring on Brambleton. So this will hopefully make that portion of Brambleton safer. So this is important, but I just want our citizens to know that this is a topic that we have looked at long and hard. And I compliment Ms. Cronise for her report to us and the work she gave 2 weeks ago at the work session to work through all the different alternatives.
And I'd just like to add to
Go
that,
ahead.
that these projects are competing with the other regions' projects.
Yes.
Pontotoc County's projects. Covington, anyone who's a member of the TPO in this region is going to do the same thing we're doing, and that's what they're going to have to then do, is decide which projects they want to report to the policy board to validate and to approve the application process. So, do we expect to get all 4? No. Do we expect to get 2? I would hope so. Which 2 are they going to be? Well, they're probably going to be the priorities that have been listed, maybe. It could be the first and third, it could be the first and second. But it takes a lot of work to get other people's money. And I don't know what I'll be on this board when we see the greenways completed on the east side, maybe on the west side.
I hope so.
But, because it just takes a long, long time. It takes $35 million to do 1 mile of 81. And it takes almost 3 times that to finish the East River Greenway. Maybe I'm wrong and the cost will come back less than the price tag we saw earlier, which was based on certain assumptions. We'll wait and see. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you both for giving the public that information. Sure. Megan, I do have one question. When we were figuring the crosswalk for Cave Spring Middle School, the church has 2 parking lots, an upper and lower. Explain to the public how we ended up picking the upper parking lot versus the lower parking lot.
We spent a good amount of time talking with VDOT and the church and the school about how pedestrians currently cross the road. So I'm sure as you and Mr. Mahoney know, there are already 2 sets of police officers that are staged on Bramilton Avenue, one at the upper lot and one at the lower lot.
Right.
So we decided on the location near the upper lot because what we would also like to have put in place, as I referenced in the HSIP applications that were unsuccessful, are pedestrian signals and crosswalks at the Bramilton Ranch Crest Roselawn signal. So if there are pedestrian crosswalks installed there, hopefully in the near future, when we can get them funded, then it makes sense to also have the crosswalk farther south towards that upper lot so that you have pedestrians spaced out. So you have 2 opportunities for them to cross safely, but that they're spaced out. So you couldn't have a mid-block close to the signal because of VDOT spacing requirements. So it made sense, also considering the way that people travel from the church to the school, whether they're going to Bogle or they're going to the auditorium or to the gymnasium. We thought that it made sense to have them come closer to the bus loop on that southern end.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted the public.
It's a great question.
I just wanted the public to know. Okay, at this point, will the clerk please call a roll on the motion?
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. We move to item E, second reading of ordinance. Ordinance amending Chapter 8.1, Erosion and Stormwater Management Program of the Roanoke County Code. Peter Lubick, our county attorney, this is the second reading. Welcome, Mr. Lubick.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. And yes, this is the second reading of the proposed amendments to Section 8.1 of the County Code. And there is only one small change since I presented this matter to you at the first reading. As you may recall, during your last meeting, Chairman Radford raised a question about whether the construction of certain residences should be exempt from the general requirement that builders provide finished floor elevation field surveys on building plans. And after further review and discussions with Mr. Radford, we have added one additional sentence to Section 8.112D, which reads, "The construction of single-family residences on parcels of 1 acre or larger are exempted from the requirement to provide a field survey unless the administrator determines that a field survey is required." And Mr. Menier, our Director of Development Services, has explained that the administrator's determination will be based primarily on 3 major criteria. The first is the location of the proposed home. The second is the proximity to adjacent structures. And the third is the topography of the site. At this time, staff does recommend the adoption of the proposed ordinance, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, I'll go ahead and finish up. Thank you, Peter, for doing that. I did look at that, and that's within the sense that the home builders had, that they didn't want to be penalized for these lots an acre and over, because we do. We're building on big acreage right now, and so it's not necessary to get that floor elevation. Just this week, earlier this week, I was building in another locality, and we changed the floor elevation by 6 feet. So this happens, it happens. And it didn't affect the neighbor to the left or right. So those things happen, but thank you for adding that and correcting that. And same with you, Tarek, thank you for handling that description for us. Any further discussion, board members? Okay. So at this time, is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Mr. Chairman, I move the motion.
Thank you, and I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. Thank you. We move to item F, appointments. Do any board members have an appointment that has not been given to the clerk and included in the board report for agenda item F? Nope, I don't see any. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the list of appointments set forth in the board report?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve those appointments.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We got a second. Any discussion? Okay, and hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. We move to item G, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by one resolution in the form or forms listed below. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion?
No, sir.
Okay. And seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt all the matters in the consent agenda?
I move item G.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Have a second. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. We moved item H, citizen comments and communications. This time has been set aside for Roanoke County citizens, county property owners, and county business owners to address the board on matters of interest or concern while the board desires to hear from all residents who want to speak. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes. Do we have any? Yeah, we have one. I have one here in front of me. So I will read that. We have one, Adele DeWeese. Please come forward and state your name and your address.
My name is Dale DeWeese. I live at 4664 Bradshaw Road in Salem.
Welcome.
I want to address the board, want to thank particularly Mr. Mahoney for bringing it to attention last meeting about these signs that are stuck up all over, like the roundabouts and on the side of the road, people advertising. The state frowns on that, but he brought it up that I think the county has the authority to remove them. And I want to thank him for removing a whole bunch of them that in our area. I don't know about other areas, but there's a lot of them that has been removed, and I want to thank Mr. Mahoney for bringing that to attention. And with the election season coming up, there's going to be a lot of political signs that are on VDOT right-of-way, which is illegal, as I understand it. All these political signs supposed to be on private property. So we might have to address that later. Second thing I want to bring up, well, I want to thank everybody who participated this past Saturday at Green Hill Park for the ALS walk. Maybe a lot of people didn't know about it, but they were having this walk to raise money for the studying of ALS. I had a nephew to die from it 8 years ago, and so that's a tragic disease that is striking people. It can last from 6 to 8 months to years. So I want to thank everybody who participated in that walk. Thank y'all, board, for listening at me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeWeese. Any further citizens? Okay, all right. We will now move to item I, reports. Do I have a motion to receive and file reports that have been included with this agenda under item I?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we receive and file the 6 reports that we have under item I.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. We move to item J, reports and inquiries of board members. Ms. Shepherd, you are first.
Well, I do not have a lot to report, but I do have a few things, and one of them being very exciting. On September 10th, several of us attended the Center in the Square annual meeting, which was at a Hotel Roanoke, and they served a great dinner, and it was a great program. We missed you, Mr. Radford. And then on September the 11th, I attended the Mount Pleasant Community Meeting, which I try to go to each month, and that was great to be there and hear the residents and their complaints and things like that, or ideas of what could be better in their community. But the best part was on September 16th, Phil North and I and several folks from the county attended the groundbreaking ceremony for the hotel in Vinton, and that turned out to be a very nice event. The rain held off, and we are excited to see that project get going. And that is all I've got.
Okay, that's good. Mr. North?
Just one thing I want to mention, Mr. Chair, about those signs. You know, I put some signs someplace, and from me and Mr. Linden, and they're gone. It's gone, and all the other signs are still there. So I don't know what that means, but you know, you lose some, you win some, and it is political season, and there are a lot of signs out there. You have to be careful. And so, just to add to your colored commentary, VDOT usually writes us all a letter just to remind us. But by the time we do that, the signs are already up. So I mean, you know, they'll be gone November the 5th, the day afterwards, and as we go into the darkness of winter, and you only have to see things about 10 hours a day. In the report section, under item I of the agenda, number 2, outstanding debt report, it's been clarified going forward, just so folks can take a look at this and see what the county debt is and what the school's debt is. And the school's debt today accounts for about 70%, which is about in line with what we fund the schools as far as their bonding is concerned. But I just want folks at home to know that Roanoke County Board of Supervisors supports our schools, and we do so to the tune of 70% of our bonded debt. And so let no one ever tell you we don't support our schools and their construction thereof. At least we haven't done so recently. When we approved $120 million of bonding for the 3 schools that are under construction now, it was unanimous on this board. So just to let folks at home know what they may not know if they don't look at page 2 of I-2 reports, each board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. North, for that information. Ms. Hooker?
Just a couple of items, Mr. Chairman. The first one is just another thank you to Katie Boyle and all that VACO does for this board, this community, and in helping us to align the things that we should really be advocating for with the General Assembly, and all the help that they give us in making those connections and recommendations. Thank you. Thank you, Katie. And the second thing is, this morning I attended a regional chamber event, and it was a talent attraction update, and it was really quite interesting. I learned a lot, and my takeaway is that we must really be advocating, working hard to consistently, in an ongoing fashion, be the kind of culture here in Roanoke County and for this place to work specifically, so that young people will want to come and to work here. And they mentioned specifically how young people are 90% of them rely on YouTube for a lot of their decision-making and influence. We might need to do a little more on YouTube. I know that we have a good presence on other platforms, but it was interesting to hear what they had to say. It's not just for Roanoke County, because Roanoke County is a great place to work, and I really do believe that. We've got excellent staff and excellent people working here, and we want to continue to draw young people here to work. But it's for all the industry, all the businesses in this valley, that we need to be attracting people to live here. I know that one of the things that they talked about specifically was how we want to be known as a mountain metro area. Our branding has the McAfee's Knob and the Hiker, and it's beautiful. It's Catawba District. But they also need to know about the fabulous things going on in Roanoke County and in this region, and to continue to attract people, that we have a nightlife, we have good places to eat, and great places to work and play. So just thought I'd drop that in your ear. If there's things that we can be doing consistently, we need to be doing them to make sure that we're attracting those young people to want to come here and then to stay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Martha, for that update. Mr. Mahoney.
Two comments, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the comments from our citizen, but it was not me. I have to remind everyone, this was a result of a complaint brought to us from a citizen, by a citizen in the county. And the real credit has to go, I think, to our zoning administrator and zoning enforcement staff and our county attorney, because they reminded us of the ongoing enforcement efforts that our staff is already undertaking. So I like the praise, but it ain't me. It's our staff. The second comment I'd like to make is 4 of us were here on September 18th for the unveiling of our love sign. And the important aspect, well, there are several important aspects, but to me, one of the more critical and important aspects was one of the young man who was involved in the welding of that sign. His name is Tyler Kerfus. My wife and I have been friends with the Kerfus family for, oh my gosh, 30, 40 years. We're good. His grandfather was there and his father were there, and my wife and I know both of them. But Tyler is a sharp young man. He's carving out a career at Burton and welding, and he and the other folks in that group that developed that and created it just did a fantastic job.
Glenver student.
Glenver student. Burton student also.
Burton.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Just to let you know, Tyler plays a mean game of pickleball, so I'm there with him. So not only can he weld, he can hit the paddle pretty good.
So he's cleaned your clock, huh?
Not yet.
Have you had to compete against his grandmother, Cinda Kerfus?
I don't know. I don't know. I play with a lot of young people, but definitely when I saw his picture, I went, "Oh, that's my pickleball guy." Okay, I got one thing to let the community know. This Thursday, we will have a Windsor Hills community meeting. It'll be at the South County Library Auditorium. It starts at 6 o'clock. And our staff is gonna present several items. We'll start off with the housing, which will be presented by Philip Thompson. He'll show us what's going on with the housing study that we have enacted, and then he'll also go over and review some of the housing that we have planned in the pipeline. Then when he's get through, I'm going to give a little bit of insight from the private side of housing. How, for example, how the recession affected the housing inventory, how COVID affected it, and where we are today with vendors and manufacturers, and how that affects the square foot pricing, and why the prices are so high today versus just 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Then we'll move in. Mr. Kaywood will be there, and he'll give a presentation on the county budget, update on the capital and services, and then it'll be followed up by Megan Baker, who will tell us all about economic development, and then we'll move over into transportation. Megan Cronice will be there and give us a good detail of what's going on in the county, not just greenways. And then we'll open up for questions and comments. And so from 6 to 7:30, you get a chance to hear a lot about what's going on in the county. on the Windsor Hills side. So if you're hearing this, you don't have to just be from Windsor Hills. You can come wherever you want from the county. You got plenty of room in the library auditorium, so love to have you there. Okay, now we move to item K, work session. Work session to review with the Board of Supervisors the preliminary and unaudited financial results for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 for the County of Roanoke, Virginia, and the FY 2026-27 budget development process and changes to the comprehensive financial policy. Steve Elliott and Laurie Gearhart will lead that discussion. Momentarily, though, the board will recess to the third floor for the work session and closed sessions. However, doing so, I'd like to move the board to go into closed session following the work session. And so I have to read this pursuant to the Code of Virginia. I move to go into the closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia for discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. Specifically, the board will discuss potential business location or expansion of the 5 magisterial districts. And Section 2.2-37A19 of the Code of Virginia for the board to discuss plans and to receive information from staff and law enforcement officials regarding the security of Roanoke County governmental buildings and the safety of persons using such buildings. Do I have a second for this?
Second.
Thank you. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. The board will now recess to the third floor for the work session and closed session.